Okay, it's about 7 o'clock, early start, back to Vegas. Not playing poker today and for the next few days, but actually a lot to do today. Drive back, check in at X, bring everything upstairs, wash the dishes, go to the supermarket, voucher drinks, edit a lot of stuff, like the second half of this trip. A lot of things to do, so early start. I will stop at exit 191, the Shack, and exit 272, the jerky store, and maybe give you some scenery along the road. I'm back. A lot of crows around. It's like 8:45. Let me see if there's some cover from the wind, and I'll talk a lot in there. A lot more cardboard boxes than last time. Pair of shorts. About the same amount of trash. Anyway, that's me. Alright, so I guess this is the wrap-up video because I had nothing else great planned for the Shack, but I might as well tell you everything here. Blinds and buy-ins, a little odd in California. Most games were 2-3, one was 1-3, one was 3-5. So all the buy-ins were 300 except for a couple of 400s. Hollywood Park was the oddest. It was 3-5, 300 max, 100 min. Gardens was 2-3 blinds, $200 max. It's I wouldn't stay away from those games. It's odd. It doesn't make them bad. You know, we did have that drunk guy going through $200 at a time for like $4,000 or $5,000 total. But even other people at the table, you know, with a $200 buy-in and people calling like $25 raises pre-flop. I mean, there's a lot of all-ins pre-flop. There's a lot of all-ins on the flop, and then after that happens, people at the table are deeper. So. Even at the 3-5 game in Hollywood Park, you know, there were all-ins. The guy in the one seat, he rebought. I stacked him, and then he rebought, and he was up to like 800 pretty quickly after that, even though he could only buy in for 3. Other people at the table were like above 3. It plays like a normal game after like someone has been at the table for a while, because they're going to play an all-in, they're going to win a pot, and then, you know, stacks are kind of normal. So that was one thing. The rake is huge. Not that I would avoid the games because of it. Games are amazing. They take $1 pre. So there's this weird thing about chopping. If someone limps in Vegas, that's it. You can't chop. Like, someone voluntarily put money in the pot and chopping is not possible anymore. Out here, if there's one limp and then everyone else folds to the small blind, you can chop. They do take $1 from the small blind because they're taking $1 every hand. Some places, if it gets to the river, they take another $1. Like, you can hit max rake on the flop on the turn, but then if a river card hits the board, they take an additional $1. So like Lake Elsinore does that, so I think it's $7 max rake and one for the promos. A thing dealers do, a lot of dealers, so if you're, there's no place to put the camera down, but, so say you're a right-handed dealer, so my left hand would be holding the deck, and my right hand would be dealing. The deck should always be in your left hand. If chips you need to bring in from the right side, it's very easy, your right arm is over there. If chips are on the left side of the table, you should be reaching your free hand across your body and pulling them in. The deck should never be leaving your left hand. A lot of people in California would transfer the deck to their other hand and then use their left to bring it in, which isn't a big deal, but just when you're transferring the deck a lot, it's possible, like a card, especially if the deck is kind of tilted up, a card becomes visible at the bottom. You really shouldn't be doing that. I don't see it in other cities. It's very rare. I know Trooper doesn't like it, but he only talked about it once because it doesn't happen that much in other cities. Out here it happens a ton. So if you don't like that, just be prepared because that's going to happen a lot. And that's about it. I will say that, sorry I can't give you more scenery, but like this is like the one corner of the Shack where there's no wind. I will say, small sample size, besides Elsinore, Morongo, and Agua, every other place, this was the first time I played it. So, sample size of 1 session, but Ocean's 11 was amazing, 7 Mile was amazing, Lake Elsinore every day was amazing. It might take like one table change, but there are incredible games in these places. Morongo this time was amazing. Herbs and Rice said not quite that good normally. Gardens was amazing, even without that drunk guy who went through $5,000, 200 at a time. There were other people at the table when I transferred, like playing barely better than that guy, and they were not going to leave until they had no money left. So it wasn't just that guy making the game great, it was like half the table. Agua, not amazing. What were the other ones? Saquon was okay. Hamul, definitely the worst. Hustler, not good. And Hollywood Park was very good. So that's the rundown. I will put them in order of best to worst on the screen for this trip, but I understand it's a very small sample size. I'm sure there are times, you know, Saquon has the best game of the week going, and there are times Morongo is not quite as good as it was the 2 times in my life that I've been there. So right there on the screen, that's the list. Top game was the best and bottom game was the worst this trip. And now that's about it, wrapping it up. Herbs and Rye won by a lot. You saw the results at the end of yesterday's video, and you saw me drink the beers, even though in real time I haven't done it yet, but you saw in yesterday's video, you saw me do that, throwing in a Tarantino type of non-linear timeline around here. That's about it. I'm gonna head back from the shack to the car, and I promised you all the jerky. So I'm gonna show you, it's like 81 miles, I think it's that way, north. It's definitely north, I think north is that way. 81 miles away is all the jerky, and that should wrap up this video and this California road trip.